Alright, what is going on, my dudes? We are back here today with some more war footage. Alright, so up first we have war number 4, okay? So this war I pretty much only had to use Quake, so I decided I was going to leave my suicides on for the entire war, and I would bring Nick Fury and Deadpool with me so I can get rid of that bleed with the restoration kit synergy, and I can get a little bit of free healing at the beginning of every fight. So up first we have a very simple fight here. It is just a Captain Marvel movie on path 5. Alright, so Captain Marvel movie could be decently problematic on this node because of the unblockable special 2. If she were to get to binary, and because of the node, she would get pushed to special 2 much quicker if I were to be hitting her and giving her power. Alright, so that's why Quake is just the obvious answer for this fight on this node. So this is a pretty easy one. This is kind of just like a warm-up. I am going to be bringing Quake on reverse controls path 9 for the first time in this war, okay? And spoiler alert, it went pretty well, so I've actually brought her to every path 9 since. So this video is just going to be war number 4 and 5 of the season, but it's going to feature Quake on reverse controls for both. So, up first, we have Mordo here. Now, one thing I did not take into account is the fact that he is immune to the ability accuracy reduction, alright? So there's force of will here. So basically what that means is I'm not going to be able to turn off Mordo's power gain, which is pretty annoying here. So there I had to hit him a couple times, and there's also flow, and I have to bait out that special attack. And keep in mind, if you check out the top left of the screen there, my reverse controls were just running out. Here I noticed that when his power gain runs out, he'll be right under a special 3, so I really have to bait out a special 2 here, alright? It happened just in time, and I'm going to hold my heavy while he's gaining his power because he's not going to hit me in that time. I'm going to toss off the heavy attack right in front of him, and I'm going to wait for this to happen here for him to get that stun. Now he's down to about 10% health, and he's got the power gain again, so I'm going to let that ride out a tiny bit there. Here I'm going to wait for him to be stunned, and now the fight is going to be over. So that is a pretty potentially risky fight there, but I actually really love that fight. It went really well, I think. This is the fight where I really wanted to bring Nick Fury and Deadpool for, so that I can just get rid of that bleed right away. I don't have to worry about Blade gaining any power from the bleed, and I can just pretty much do this full Quake style on the reverse controls. You know, I've stated many times in my war videos that reverse controls doesn't really bother me. I just swipe the other way, and that's pretty much what I'm doing here. You know, it's a lot easier for me when there's reverse controls the entire time as opposed to when there's reverse controls for just 30 seconds. I find that when the reverse controls switch back to regular controls, that's where a lot of people could mess up. But if it's just reverse controls the entire time, well, that's consistent, and it's not going to be, you know, throw that curveball at like the control switching when you're about to evade a special or whatnot. You know, for me, it's a lot easier like on this node than in, for example, the Grandmaster fight when it switches like at a very inopportune time. It always seems to happen like right when you don't want it to happen. So here, this fight is pretty much just a normal Quake fight for me, dude. So up next, we have this little mini boss here, which is the Darkhawk, and this is a really great placement for Darkhawk, because if he does throw off a special 1, he'll pretty much be right back up to another special 1 pretty much immediately, and the cycle continues like that. So here, you know, we're pretty much just gonna Quake this guy like normal. Because of the kinetic transference, we're going to try to not parry him at all. This is pretty much just like Quaking that Darkhawk boss in 6.4.4, you know what I mean, or 6.4.3. So basically, if you can do that Darkhawk, well, you can do any Darkhawk in war, because basically it's going to be about 10 times faster. So one more full Quake style Quake cycle, I mean, and this guy should be flushed right down the toilet. Here he's going to be stunned, and he's going to go down to about 15% health, so I guess one more really. I just want to keep consistent in the corner there and keep my heavy and deck style going. I can parry him a tiny bit, no big deal at all, and we'll knock that guy out, and he is done. Absolutely done. So up next, we're going to take a decently tough fight, man. Up next, we're gonna have this man thing here. Now, this man thing is going to be stun immune, and he has a lot of health. He is a very, very beefy boy. He has 240,000 health. This is a rank 5 man thing. If this was like a rank 3 6-star man thing, it may have been a timeout with full suicides on, man. Almost no mistakes as well. So here, man, this is just like pretty much a test in endurance. I think it was close to a timeout. I could be wrong. I may have been making that up, but I'm pretty sure it was like decently close to a timeout. If I wasn't running suicides, I think that would risk a timeout. So after 30 seconds, he's down to about 75% health, so I think actually it's going to be decently okay on time. This was about a week ago, so I may have been thinking back to a different fight. But yeah, man, you know, when you're fighting Man-Thing on Stun Immune, I feel like sometimes he just tosses off those heavy attacks when you're not expecting it, so you really gotta be on your game here, man, because especially you also don't want to parry at all, because you just don't want to get that poison on you. Because if you do get poisoned, well, you're not going to have a good time there at all, to be honest. So you just want to really stay consistent. It's really nice when he backs off and just kind of like stays there for a bit. I took a punch to the face there, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. Just want to keep the rhythm there. If you do mess up with Quake while you're doing stun immune, just get right back in the fight. Don't let it affect you, and just pretty much go on as if it didn't happen. Alright, so yeah, man, so this guy's down to about 24% health. This, you know, is a decently tough fight. I've been quaking stun immune like this for about 100 seconds now, so at this point, you know, this is when your concentration can start to break if you're not really paying attention. But, you know, I noticed that he's down to like, what, 5% health, 1% health, and here I did something kind of silly. I noticed he was at 1% health, and I wanted to get kind of fancy here, so I did like a little light intercept, but I noticed that it didn't kill him, so I kind of freaked out real quick, but I just backed up and I let the concussion or the aftershock get rid of him. So I was trying to flex there with that light intercept, but you know, it almost cost me there, but it's okay. Up next, we have this Warlock mini boss as well. We're doing a lot of quaking in this war, man, lots and lots and lots of quaking. But this Warlock, yeah, is not, you know, not the biggest deal in the world. You don't want to parry this Warlock too many times, because, you know, God forbid he does get that infection on you and you're healing from the poisons with the willpower. Well, that's not going to be very good at all. So here, you know, I'm just doing my Dex and heavy Quake style, Quake and shake pretty much. Warlock, I find Warlock very easy to Quake personally. His animations are so big that you can always kind of tell what he's doing, especially his last medium attack when he just lays out on the floor. It's pretty obvious to know what he's doing and adjust accordingly. Yeah, so this guy's going down. He's not too tanky. I mean, Warlock is pretty tanky when you try to like hit him, but when you're doing damage over time like this, he goes down pretty easy. Quake is just such a great option for Warlock on this node, and pretty much on any node, as long as you can Quake him, just because you want to avoid that infection at all costs, especially when you're running suicides. So yeah, one more aftershock here, and boom, this was the 4th War of Alliance War Season 18, man. Those were all of my fights there. Up next here, let's see what we got going on next. I think we're jumping to the next war. Alright, and this here is going to be an Annihilus on Aegis Heavy. Now this Annihilus was unduped, so not the hardest fight in the world here, but obviously we're going to bring in Thing. I could have brought in Dr. Doom, but I did bring in Thing because I believe I wanted him for something else later on in the war, okay? So here, as long as I am above 15 rock stacks, obviously I can toss off my heavy attack because I'm going to go unstoppable against Annihilus. Now, usually when I fight Annihilus, I kind of throw all caution to the wind. I just pin him up against the wall, and I just activate protection for the entire fight, and I eat specials in the face. But when I'm fighting him in Alliance War, I tend to play a little bit safer here, just because I don't want to make any detrimental mistakes that could potentially end up in a death. excuse me, the ultimate goal of Alliance War is just to get through every fight without dying. It doesn't really matter how you do it as long as you get through with no deaths. That's pretty much the end goal for any fight. You know, I noticed in this fight that I could potentially heal up a little bit with those stifles. So at this point I was thinking maybe I can heal up a little bit. Do those obliterations and the stifles before I go on to the next fight, but I took that a little bit too far over here where I was in the corner and I was thinking to myself, you know, how much can I heal up? Like, this is just a pretty good showcase here about like how tanky Thing is in Alliance War. I'm going to get Annihilus down to 1% health here, and then I'm gonna be kind of silly in the corner and just like kind of Quake him for a little bit and try to gain some of those debuffs on me and get some willpower healing. And I ended up taking a little bit more block damage instead that I didn't want to take. But you know, it kind of is what it is, man. Not the biggest deal in the world. It doesn't really matter. It cost me a potion just doing something stupid here, but you know, I mean, look at this here, man. Like, look at how freaking tanky Thing is, dude. Like, that's just absolutely ridiculous. Up next, we're going to be using our rank 3 Stealth Spidey for this Rhino. This is a fight I've done many times. I've also shown it on my channel a couple times. Stealth Spidey is just so good for this fight, so absolutely fantastic. As long as you get that slow debuff on Rhino, there's not much you have to worry about. Worst thing that could happen is no connection. So right off the bat, want to get that parry, and then we want a 4-hit combo and get that slow debuff right on him. It doesn't help when he's not willing to throw a medium on you so you can intercept him, but you know, no big deal there. There's a 1 intercept. He wouldn't give you another one. I got a little punch to the face there, but not the biggest deal in the world. So we got 2 out of 3. We got to get another slow debuff on him, so we can do that right here. We got to bait out a special 1 if we can. There we go, and now we're going to do a little backdraft here, and boom, we got it. We got it. So now we're going to get the passive Fury, alright? We're going to wait for that passive Evade to come back so I can toss off the special 1 and get the passive Precision. There we go. And now we're going to bait out the special 1 here. And then we're going to put the slow debuff back on this guy. Watch out for backup recovery, but I mean, he's already dead. We do have a rank 3 Spider-Man. Watch out for that unblockable on Rhino. Rhino is a pretty annoying defender, man. Like, he just has some really annoying defensive qualities, but he doesn't hit too hard, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. We thought that this just heavy shared mini boss was going to be a Mordo, so we figured that I would take it with Thing, and we thought that he'd be the best option, and he did pretty well. So we're going to parry, we're going to get the heavy right there. That's kind of a risky way to go about doing it against Mordo, but that's just personally the way I like to do it. Here I went to counter his heavy with my heavy, but it didn't work there. I guess Thing's dash back against Mordo's heavy attack is not good reach there, but no big deal at all. Here, Mordo had 2 sets of power gain going, so I wanted to get rid of at least one of them. Here he just has the flow one still, but that's okay, gonna let that ride out. Just bait out that heavy attack, get rid of that power gain, and now we do have the long distance relationship on this node, so that's going to be nice for a little bit of willpower healing. We just want to time out our combos so that they're ending pretty much right when his power gain is beginning, so we can cancel that out. What's really good about Thing versus Mordo is that you can go in safely with the heavy attack, because if he goes in to hit you, you're going to go unstoppable and you have the protection, okay? And another great thing is that if he does get to a special 3, well, you can activate your protection and you won't take any damage from the special attack, alright? So overall, Thing is a pretty decent Mordo counter, and once you get those rock stacks built up, well, you can bait out that heavy attack without too much damage, unless you are up against Siphon in Alliance War. Here we have those 2 stacks of power gain again, but we're going to go in with the heavy attack and get rid of one of them, letting that flow one ride out, and we're just going to go in. He has 2 stacks now. We never want to let it get to above 2 stacks. Once you get to 3 stacks, that's pretty much like asking for a special 3 to the face. We're going to let that power gain ride out and bait out a special 2. I noticed that The time is starting to run out. We got about 1 minute left, but we are building up those passive furies, so as time goes on, we are going to be hitting a little bit harder. There was a perfect example of why it's so safe just to heavy against Mordo, because if he does intercept us there, well, we're going to go unstoppable and we have the protection. Here, at this point, man, we've healed up to 100% due to the long distance relationship. We're going to toss off a special 3 to end off this fight. Really, really, really solid fight with Thing here, man. Really enjoyed doing this fight. I thought that it went really, really well. I have another video, man, of Thing versus Mordo Aegis Heavy. That did not go that good, and that is going to be featured in the next war video, so keep an eye out for that. So up next we are taking Path 9 again with Quake. This is the second war in a row that I'm doing reverse controls with Quake, alright? So up first we have a Corvus Glaive. This is, I believe, a rank 2 Corvus. Can you imagine having a rank 2 Corvus and putting him on defense? That is just, I don't know, man, that's like sacrilegious to me. I couldn't imagine not using a Corvus if I had him like that. So yeah, man, I mean, Corvus is pretty easy to Quake. He has that giant glaive with him, and it's pretty easy to see his animations and just you know, see what he's going to be doing. You know, personally, I use Corvus every day, so I know his animations very, very well. I find that I'm always better quaking champs that I personally use. I'm sure everybody else feels the same way. Here at this point, this fight's pretty much over. Gonna toss off a heavy, and that is it. Up next, we have a Man-Thing, dude. We got another Man-Thing with Quake, and this one is gonna be on reverse controls. Very, very nice. So yeah, this is not the hardest fight in the world. I would say that the stun immune Man-Thing was definitely tougher than this one, I would say. This one just gotta pretty much stay consistent here. Once I'm in the corner, it's all pretty much over. I did get a little punch to the face, but not the biggest deal in the world, especially because he just got stunned from the aftershock right after. He is immune to the ability accuracy reduction, by the way, so the concussion is not going to go on him, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. Since we just don't need that for this fight. So here he's not stun immune, so when the aftershock comes in, he is going to get stunned, and he's already down to about 30% health. So this Man-Thing fight is certainly a lot easier than the previous Man-Thing fight. And that is, like, without question, absolutely no debate. One more Quake cycle and this guy is dead right now. Very, very, very nice. I believe we have one more fight in this war, and it's against the Symbiote Supreme, stun immune, crit resistance, energy resistance mini boss, the top right mini boss. We are going to be sending this Thing at him, man, because Thing is just such a great option for Symbiote Supreme anywhere, but especially here, because stun immune Symbiote Supreme is pretty annoying, man, because you know, you can't like parry heavy him, and you don't want to worry about not triggering Dex or changing your masteries. So Thing is immune to nullify, so you don't have to worry about like getting nullified by this guy, your buffs, you know? So you can pretty much just fight him like normal. Another thing is that this node has crit resistance, and Thing already pretty much has very, very low crit rate, so I actually don't think I crit a single time in this entire fight. Here I'm building up to a special 3 already, but I'm just gonna keep the flow of the fight going. You know, I noticed that we're already 1 minute in, and this guy's down to about 66%, and we're starting to build up those passive furies. So the thing with Thing is at the beginning of the fight, when you aren't using synergies like his attack synergies, well, you know, usually you're not going to be hitting too hard, and it's going to look like he's kind of hitting with pillow fists. But as the fight goes along, he's going to be hitting harder and harder as you build up those passive furies, because he can build up to 60 of those guys. So at this point, this Symbiote Supreme is already down to 50% health, and he's being very stingy with that special one. But as time goes on, we're building up more passive furies, and honestly, I probably should have been tossing off those special 3s, but the flow of the fight was just going very much so in my favor, and I felt like I had the fight under my control, and I could get this guy down at about the 30-second mark, so I just wanted to keep it going like this and just keep baiting his special 1. I just didn't really want to worry about having to dex out his special 2, even though I could pretty much just activate my protection during it and just pretty much eat the whole thing and take no damage. I just felt it was a lot easier just to keep it going like this. At this point, he's down to about 15% health. We're in Assassin's range. I don't even remember if I had Assassin on at this point in the fight, but there's 45 seconds left and I gotta do like one more combo. I could have even tossed off the special 3 here, but I'm just gonna be hitting into his block, and this guy is absolutely down. So my dudes, that was war number 4 and number 5 of Alliance Wars Season 18. I hope you enjoyed those fights. If you did, please do me a favor and leave a like. Comment what you think about all those fights in the comments section below, especially all those Quake fights on reverse control, and subscribe if you want to see some more war content coming to you very, very soon. I will be seeing you around.